Wow, you are still here. Wow. Alright, welcome in day 3. Today we are going to create a new workflow, approval workflow, that we extend the workflow with approver and coordinator and I guess 3 more steps. Then we jump to um, creation of update action that allows us to edit already completed requests. Then we go through printout. If you need something to have on the paper, you can easily print it out. Then notification. We would like to notify approver. Like there is no even request, goes to in approval workflow step, and we would like to notify approvers there is something to approve. Okay? Then we have a point that is pretty complex, but we will go through basics. It's calculations. Okay, calculations we will use to calculate the total value in required items in event, if you remember, and then we create a new calculation that allows us to recognize if everything is prepared or not. So let's jump to first point. Create a new approval workflow for event request. Okay, first we need to create a few roles, then a few statuses, and then we create a new workflow and we add roles in user management for our particular user. So let's create a new roles. Let's go to administration. Okay. And here, you already know where to create roles. So let's go to roles. And we have just a request of role. We add a new one called approver. Save and close. And then new one called coordinator. Like that. Here we go. So we have prepared roles. Let's go to statuses. Let's go into status and add a new one. Let's call it in approval. I don't want to take anything like that. Then add a new one called saved. I forgot this one. And then add a new one called reject or rejected. Like that. I just want to refresh the admin page. Here we go. Let's see. In approval, we got rejected, we got saved, and in progress we are missing. So add a new one called in progress. That's it. If you would like to change the order of that statuses, it will be displayed or the change will be shown in user environment. There are filters. So first will be here saved status, then completed, and so on. So I just adjust the order. So in approval, like that. And here we go. We have everything prepared to create a new workflow. So let's go into workflows. Let's add a new one and add a workflow name called how we call it, event request workflow. So event request, for example, create. Yeah. You just need to specify the first role and status. So requestor as a role and status will be saved. Just click on save. And now on the right side, there is a diagram. So click on diagram and you can see that we have one workflow step, which is red. It means some branch of the workflow leads to incomplete status or incomplete workflow step. You can see that we have request or save. So what we need to do is create a branch that is completed. Yeah, leads into completed status. Maybe it's better to show you here in statuses. We have one status, it's completed. When I click on it, you can see I tick completed. It means it's the end of the workflow. Then we have cancelled. It's the same, but it is the end of the workflow. But actually, user can see any request within this workflow step. I mean, whenever you have, for example, workflow step of combination request or completed, we've checked completed, and the request is not assigned to anybody, and it's just completed. You can edit it. Then we have cancelled. It means the request went to workflow step contains request or cancelled or something like that, and user can see the request in user environment. And we have ordinary workflow, like for example our saved status, and there is nothing ticked. Yeah, no completed, neither cancelled status. Maybe we can add one more thing to rejected status, and we just tick cancelled. Yeah, it means whenever some approver send or reject the request, like even a request, it goes to reject status or workflow step. All right. So let's go back to our workflows, into our even request creation and the diagram on the right side. Here we go, we have request or saved. So what we are going to do, we create a new branch, approval branch actually. So you can see workflow step, and we add a new workflow action that allows us to go to another workflow step. Yeah? So it happens when you click on small plus icon here, add action, and you just need to add here or provide a name of the workflow action, and then and how to call it, status that is next. Yeah? So role will be approver, and status will be in approval, and style we can leave on green. That's it. Click on save, and you can see that we have extended workflow now. We have request all saved, which is no more red, and then we have approver in approval, which is now the end of the workflow, and it's red because it's not finished, it's not completed. All right, what we need to do now is add a new workflow action from approver in approval, and we add it as we provide the name approve, and role would be coordinator, and status will be in progress. Here we go, and we add a new one into approver in approval workflow step. Click on action and type reject. Next role will be requestor, and status will be rejected. we can set a style to red, and we can, for example, require command for this particular workflow step. So click on command. Okay, here we go. And we still doesn't have one branch completed, so we have coordinator in progress. Even is now in progress, so the last thing what we want to do is close complete that even the request. So click on plus and name it as complete. Requester will be the next row and status completed, and here we go. Now you can see that we have 3 gray workflow steps and 2 workflow steps containing blue color. Blue color mean it's completed, and gray means like incompleted. Yeah, so like that. And one more thing, what we have to do is we create a new workflow. So we need to change on our even request the workflow. Yeah, and you should know where it should be done in objects, in even request object, and we combine workflow and object through the template. Yeah? So let's go to templates, and here click on default template, and you can change the workflow to even request created. Save, and now let's go to user environment and see the changes. Yeah, but before, you forgot something. We need to assign roles, particular roles that we created for our user. Yeah, so let's go to administration, scroll down into user management users. Here, choose your user, and in user access, click on it and add a new roles. You can add a new roles by take 2 roles and click on save and close. It means our user has now assigned all 3 roles. Like, have you remembered that, here we go, user case, we have a roles like sales guy, then we have approver, and we have a coordinator. Sales guy is like a requester. Okay? He create a request, create even a request. So it's in this particular process is a requester. And approver, we have already role approver and coordinator as well. So we have set all the roles. I just check it. Yeah, here we go. And we have everything done here. Perfect. So let's go to user environment and let's see what we have done. So we have one completed. Okay, let's create a new even request. Here we go. And we just fill everything, like title, it will be team building for Apple. We can specify that it's for client Apple. We specify some start date and end date. Add a description, template, team building for Apple. ENC, and we would like to add some items. For example, catering, quantity is at 1. Let's leave it as not prepared, and then paintball, for example, as 2. Here we go. And when we click on save and submit, yeah, here we go. It's automatically submitted. And you can see that is in request all saved status. When you click inside, there is a info panel, and you can see all info related to that request. Yeah, role, request all, status saved, and so on. In a new version of Xilo, there is a small eye icon here. So when you click on it, you see the similar thing, like a pop-up with that information. Yeah. Okay, perfect. And what is really important here is to whom the request is assigned. You can see it's assigned to me because there is only me inside that environment as a user. Whenever I will have more than one, there will be assigned more than one if they have that role. Okay, you can see everything is set it up. And now we are in a role request all and status saved. It's something, the request is assigned only to us. This is something that is special thing in Xilo, because request all, role request all, when you go to administration into roles and request all, has take request all. It means whenever a request is in a workflow step containing request all, it's assigned only to you. We use that role because imagine that you have imagine the case that you have 1000 object lines to fill to populate the form, and you need to, it's morning and you would like to have a coffee. So you save the request and you can return to that request, to the particular request, and you can edit the fields. Yeah? And then send it to approval. You can see that we have role request all, status save, and assign only to me, but I can edit anything. Yeah, you can see that. You can allow editing of that request in that particular status save request all. When it goes into administration, into workflow, into event request, and here is a small locker on request all saved workflow step. So when I click on it, you can see that there is two properties. First is visible property, the second one is editable property. Whenever you check visible something, it will be visible, otherwise when you tick off, it will be invisible in that particular workflow step. Yeah. The same is editable. When you tick, it's editable. When you tick off, tick out, it will be not editable, like disable. I would like to have everything editable because I am in the first step, like request or save, where I should have opportunity to edit everything. Right? So let's go. And now when we refresh, when we refresh the user environment that our particular request, you can see that now I can edit everything. Here we go, and I can edit a client and so on. Yeah. All right. That was editing and visibility. Just one more thing. When we have done with the request as a request all, we would like to send it in workflow. It could be done through workflow action here at the top. When I click on workflow, you can see that we have option just to submit. When I submit that, you can see that it's in role approver and status in approval. When I open it as an approver, you can see in info that role changed to approver and status in approval. And now I can click on workflow, and now I got approve and reject workflow actions. It all from this diagram. You can see that in approver and approval, I got approve and reject workflow step. Yeah, that's it. Okay, imagine that I would like to reject that workflow step, that particular request, and I would like to click on reject, and it shows me the notification or warning that comment is required for this workflow action. So I can simply add a comment here. I can add attachment and so on, and then I can reject that. And here we go. You can see that the reject is not displayed here, the request. I throw it out literally, yeah, because the reject status has ticked cancelled property. It means user can't see the request. Yeah. Okay, I guess that's it.